legacy that's long. That's the legend of the Armstrongs. Questions get answered, oh, you didn't know? Let's start the show.
Welcome back to the show. It's Road Dogg and Casio, and you're listening to...
Oh, you didn't know?
What is up, Road Dogg?
Sorry.
Brian
I was just gonna
James.
finish my thing.
aggressive.
Sometimes I go into it and I can't stop
Were you
myself.
going to do the whole ramp
I was
entrance
going to
and
do the
everything?
whole thing and then end it with I got 2 words for you and to do the whole thing, but I mean, you stepped on it. It's all good though. I'm doing
did.
well. How are you?
I'm doing excellent, dog. I'm doing excellent.
What's the matter with your eyes?
I made the mistake of getting them dilated, going to the eye doctor. I'm supposed to be wearing these. What do you think about this look?
Well, I think it's great. And I mentioned that you look just like the cool emoji. Like when you say cool to somebody and send them that, it's just that one emoji. I don't think it has a beard.
But I'm close. I got
That's
the
a good
big
lay.
yellow-
That's a good look. You know what I mean?
That's
Like
good.
it's a minion. Has a minion vibe. A
Minion.
bearded minion.
Oh, hey, this does
Thank you.
feel better.
Don't look
in my
up
eyes.
bearded minion on the.
Put your safe search on if you're gonna Google that one. It worked.
Do not look for that one.
Dog. Before we
So
get
your eyes are
started,
dilated because you had them checked out. Are you okay? You good to
had
go?
them checked.
or-
I'm all good. A+, ready
All
to go,
good.
my friend.
Yeah, good.
Ready to go.
Keep getting like reading glasses, like, and they keep going up and up and up, and
Yeah.
and like mine were at like 150, and the minute I turned like over 50, like they were no good no more. So now I get to 175, and I think that's just a way of telling me like, yeah, you're closer to 75 than you are 50 now.
Is that what it goes by, your age?
Just you old
close to your age.
bastard.
He gave me the speech this time. That's how I know I'm getting old. He gave me the
Yeah.
speech. How are you at reading like menus and stuff? And I'm like, first of all, that's a hidden fat joke because you know I'm reading menus all the time. Second of all, it's a hidden old joke because you're asking me if I need readers.
Yeah. So yeah, but truth be told, can you ask anybody anything nowadays without it
No.
being offensive and
Canceled. You're done.
tearing me down? And you're calling me fat. I said nothing of the sort. Fatty.
You read the menu. He's like, nope. That's just an everyday
that's-
question. Everyone answers that. Thank you.
Hey, are you good at reading menus? Apparently. Like how are your friggin' eyes, Doc?
Apparently, as you can see, clearly, I am an excellent menu reader.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
All
man.
right,
Hey, so before we get into this, I had eight new baby goats. And
You
if you
showed
follow
me
them,
3. You ended up with 8.
eight baby goats in 1 week. And I literally saw and participated in some of the birthing. And so it was actually very cool because me and my wife were doing it kind of together, and it was, we got 8 new beautiful, healthy baby kids, I guess they're called. And
Same mom or
and
did
beautiful.
multiple goats drop it?
No, three different mothers.
Okay.
And so if you follow me on Twitter at Fergal McDivitt, hashcrown.com, you can see I posted pictures of all the newborn babies up there. And so
my wife was crying. She's all in.
well,
She wants
hey,
to
look,
drive to Florida.
in about
if you want to get rid of any of them, she's
in about 6 months, 8 months, we'll throw another male out there and see what he does. And then I'll so you'll in about 11 months I'll have you a brand new good baby. So you be ready for it by then.
Okay.
I got one right now if you want it for real, but I figured you might
She's
want to
ready.
prepare.
She's pumped.
You might want to prepare for it.
Well, I told you we're going to come down to Florida, and I believe the spring. My wife's doing a CrossFit competition.
Mm-hmm.
I told her, she was like, you need to call Road Dogg, let him know you're going to be in Florida. And I said, I texted you, we're going to be down there. Let's just get some fried shrimp and watch her run.
Yeah.
Just stand there. But I think
And
we
throw
need to bring
donut
baby goats
holes
with
at them.
us.
Maybe we could throw donut holes at the participants.
And I might be driving
I was
home
thinking
with
about a
goat.
whole donut, but I don't know how that will throw. But a donut ball, I bet you could
launch.
throw that 50 yards on a rope. You know.
But she's in all those competitions where they tase her and paintball her and then attack a German Shepherd. And
What? Are you
pays
serious?
like $250. And I'm like, what did you do that for? She's like, I get a T-shirt. And you
you're like because I couldn't do that at all. Period. I couldn't either. Holy mackerel!
give me $250. I'll go get you 2 shirts.
But
at Walmart.
that's competition, right? That's
Yeah,
somebody
she
who's
loves
competitive. Yeah, they wanna do that, and it doesn't matter the purse, right?
Yeah, she wants me to cheer her on, which means I'll stand at the finish line for 3 hours.
Yeah, dang
waiting
right
on
you
her
will.
to finish, and
You'll do it, and you'll do it and shut up. Just do it and shut up doing it.
Well, I got pumped up, guys. I got pumped up, dog.
Ooh, what happened?
Because looking at this, at the end of the Dog in 2007 show,
Ooh.
we finished off by talking about you winning one of the briefcase in the Feast or Fired match at
Look at
Turning
that facial.
Point.
If you're not watching at home by way of television / streaming device, it's showing me with the case that I won with a holy mackerel look on my face. And I think that's when an actor on the casting couch, and believe me, I've been on many of them, says
Such a large briefcase. Can we talk about that?
Says, show me surprised. This is the look that I give them. Yeah, it's a huge briefcase. All of my wrestling gear was in there. And no, it wasn't. But yeah, it was one of the old things where Billy got it and threw it out, and I caught it. I think that's how it went down. Somebody threw it, and I caught it. But then I had the briefcase, and I got tag team title, right? Didn't I?
Open the briefcase,
cover
you
that?
reveal
Yeah.
a tag title shot, but tease, you're not sure if you're going to pick Kip as your partner. First things first, dog, as we get into this, what did you think of the Feast or Fired gimmick? Is that any way to take someone off TV in your mind, or what did you think about this?
Well, look, I think it's a new thing, you know what I mean, that I had never seen and I had never heard of. And so I thought, when you can do something different in wrestling that hasn't been done, I always think that's kind of a bonus, because you never know if it's going to get over, if it's not. That things like this, haven't survived and I haven't been done again, I don't think. Not anywhere I've been anyway, but it's a new idea. It's something new. You try it. And if it was a way to fire somebody, then, you could always use it and take it a step further and go, oh no, now you have a fired the thing is held up to see who's fired. You have to have a match to find out who it is. You know what I mean? You could take it a step further and use it as a promotional element, but somebody's getting fired at the end of the day. But you could use it as a gimmick thing too and bring them back. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Sami Zayn gets fired and El Generico comes back.
When you're getting ready to head into this storyline, is it creative that comes to you and says, hey, it's time to do a program between you two?
Yes, but it's probably me and him at this point too, because we knew, you kind of feel it like, okay, this is, look, we've kind of felt it from the get-go, if we were being honest with ourselves, but I don't think either one of us were in a place to do that in our heads. But it was trying to catch lightning in a bottle again, and that just wasn't going to happen. And so it was, to me, it was always going to happen. We were always going to have to fight against each other, you know what I mean, at some point. And I also don't think people wanted to see that. I don't think they cared to when they did. And I don't think they wanted to see it. They want to see the Outlaws together, and they want to see you do your whole spiel, and they want to see the thing, you know what I mean? And if you can't give them the thing, then you're giving them something less than, and that's, I don't know. I think it's almost a slap in the face, you know what I mean, to give them less than. And so the writing was on the wall early on about this run for us as a tag team. I'm sure it was creative, or somebody just came to us and goes, what do you guys think? Where are we at here? And it was like, yeah, we got nothing either. What do you guys want to do,
When you think back at this time, were you happy in TNA at the time?
Yes, I was, and again, we talked a lot about this being a horrible time in my life. It was not a horrible time in my life. It was just I was on drugs, and so they ruled the day. You know what I mean? And that's just a fact of the matter. And so, but yeah, I was amongst friends. I was with Billy. I was with Jeff. I was working with Dutch, and you know what I mean? Like everybody was. I don't know. It was same old, doing some wrestling, paying the bills, taking some drugs. You know what I mean? That was, and not in that order, my friend.
You two team up in a match against Petey Williams and Sanjay Dutt.
Ooh.
Petey by the way, now an agent for WWE, and Sanjay an on-air and backstage guy for AEW.
Yeah.
So before we get to the match, what do you think of Petey and Sanjay here?
So look, loved them then, love them more now because I know them more now. But Petey was an innovator in the industry, the Canadian Destroyer. Like I'm sure somebody's going to tell me, Takamichi Noku did it before he did or whatever, and I'm going to go like I didn't know that. But to me, he innovated like some wrestling maneuvers. You know what I mean? And what a cool gimmick he had with Scott Steiner. Being a baby Papa Pump and excuse me. And Sanjay, I actually went with Sanjay to India during the early, I'd say the ground floor stages of the Raka King deal that the wrestling over there that Jeff tried to do, or that he actually did and succeeded doing it. But me and Sanjay actually went on the first tour over there together to recruit a lot of talent for that show. So I've spent a lot of time with Sanjay in India, and man, they didn't give a crap who I was. I was just some fat old washed up guy, but Sanjay Dutt was a star, and it was cool to see that, you know what I mean? To be there with him and see people go like, oh, and a lot of people do that too. And so it was very cool to get to know him in that way. But yeah, I've known them both now. Sanjay worked down at NXT for a little while too, and at in WWE. Is that me?
By the way, before we get crushed on social media, just to set the record straight, everyone knows the first Canadian Destroyer was done by Fergal McDivitt. So
yes,
yeah.
I knew I was gonna. I knew I would have been corrected.
Which is why so many
on that
people
one.
are Fergal McDivitt guys. You know what I mean?
Well, I know 4 of them. I can tell you that much.
Let's get to the match. Kip gets pinned by Sanjay, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's TNA. From the Observer, post-match saw Kip demanding to find out who BG's partner is for his tag team title shot. From the briefcase match, BG agreed to tell him next week. We had BG and Kip teasing troubles and building up a split.
And then Billy lost right in the midst of all this. Can I bring that up?
Right.
I mean, he probably doesn't want me to, but
He
you
gets
lost
pinned
again,
by Sanjay.
Billy. Yeah.
He can't even beat Sanjay.
One of your legs is bigger than Sanjay.
It says, we had BG and Kip teasing troubles building up a split, but the split is a swerve because they all end up as friends. Was there ever any talk about it being a swerve, dog?
Apparently it was.
Did
He
they?
said it was a swerve. I don't remember this specifically at all.
Did they
I
already
can
have
imagine-
contact with your dad about coming in?
Yeah. We've already talked about him coming in. He was in good shape. He was ready to go. Here he is
Look at
here if
Bullet
you're watching
looking good,
with his
man.
Kegel's Gym shirt on. That's literally from Marietta, Georgia. That all the old Georgia Championship guys used to train there. It's an old school gym. And he loved that shirt, man, till the day he died. But yeah, he's ready to go here. And so, and Billy looked like he was too. I was just like, can I go back and lay down? But yeah, so they had already talked to my father, and we were all set. We were moving forward with that, which we'll probably talk about here. I don't know if we will or not, but it was exciting.
Was anybody else under consideration that you know of? Was that
No.
it? Okay.
No, it was. Yeah, it wasn't. It was because, truthfully, and whether you think the story's good or not, like that's neither here nor there. But if we're digging into it, like, who else would I turn Billy down for? You know what I mean? Like that's I'm sorry, dude, but this is my dad, and this is and then Billy, of course, gets mad and turns on my dad and turns on me, whatever. So it's the story makes sense whether you were with it or you didn't give a crap or whatever. How it goes down makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yes.
In our world, it makes sense in any world. To tell you the truth.
You said you kind of knew maybe the end was coming up, and a lot of stuff going on in your personal life, but you got to be excited to be working with Billy in the ring again.
Oh yeah,
it's always got to be good.
It is very good because it's electric between me and him. Whether the people dig it or not is questionable, but it's always cool between me and him just because it's kind of like working with your brother. But so I was excited about working with Billy and getting paid on the pay-per-views that we were working on. But Billy beats the crap out of you in the ring. Like he literally beats you within an inch of your life inside the wrestling ring, and you're like, what did I do to deserve this, sir? You know, and please, sir, may I have another? My lord, please, my lord. But he would just, it was just everything. He hits you, and this sounds weird, and I don't know any other way to say it, so I'm just going to say it. His body is so hard that it's like hitting a brick wall that's formed in the shape of a human being. You know what I mean? Like it has round shoulders, but they're brick round shoulders.
Right.
So they hit you in a shoulder tackle. They hit you with a flying elbow, whatever. It hurts really bad. so yeah, I was excited because I like Billy, but also not because he beat the crap out of me. But he never beat me.
Correct.
I want to reiterate this. Undefeated against the one Daddy Mac Scissor Jack. I don't know. What do they call him? I'm sorry. I messed it up. I messed up the whole gimmick. I apologize. I
like Daddy Jack Scissor
Jack. Daddy Mac Scissor Jack.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's actually pretty cool.
He should run with it.
You're welcome, Billy, again.
He'll get it over. The next week on Impact from the Observer, BG and Kip James came out. BG told Kip that he's not going to be his partner when he uses his briefcase to challenge Styles and Tomko for the belts. BG told Kip that his partner is Bob Armstrong.
What?
Kip, given that Bob is like a second father, was cool with that.
Oh.
How's that for a swerve, says the Observer. They built up that Kip is going to be mad, and he was happy.
He was happy.
Swerve of a swerve, dog.
It was a swerve. Dude, I used to pitch in Babe Ruth League, and I can tell you I had a bit of a knuckleball. But I'm serious. I'm serious. I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Bit of a knuckleball.
No, I didn't have a knuckleball or a fastball or any of those.
Or even play
balls. Played baseball. It was just whether I was good or not is debatable.
You played.
You didn't see me, so I was probably one of the best ever.
All county. This is really built well, in my opinion, dog. We hinted on it earlier, but it is really built well. I mean, like you said, there couldn't be other storyline besides your dad coming back. You had to be pleased with all this. This is a good deal.
I was, and again, whether right, wrong, or indifferent, you liked it or you didn't, like, this was me and my father who was aging, and especially now that he's gone, to have this moment with my father was more important to me than anybody can imagine. And so, sadly enough, or I don't know if this is pathetic or right or wrong, but I don't care if it got over or if it was good or anything. Like, I thought it was good enough for a washed up wrestler and a really old wrestler who was the washed up one's father, go out there with AJ Styles and Tomko and have a presentable wrestling match. And we did it. And I got to do it with my father on a pay-per-view. And I didn't get to work with my dad. All my brothers got to work with my father coming up and broke in working for him and with him and all kind of stuff. And I didn't have that opportunity. So it was a really cool moment for me. And if you aren't done with that, then I have two words for you. I don't know any other way to get out of that.
Finally, by the way, we get your dad in a promo on Impact, man. Backstage, BG James said he was going on vacation, and Bob said he wasn't, and they were training every day till the title match, like in the Marines. This is probably the closest thing to a shoot, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, it really was the closest thing to a shoot, and that's what was funny about it to us, and I'm sure we're going to hear from the Observer in a moment. But what was funny about it to us is it was kind of like Dad, for real, at this time in his life, still worked out 10 times harder than I ever will. And that was just a fact, you know what I mean? And so it was kind of a running rib, like, you're the only Armstrong that never went to the gym, you know what I mean? Like, so it was that kind of thing. And maybe it was too inside, or maybe, I don't know. I just thought the story worked. I thought, let's hear what the Observer has to say. 'Cause I feel like we're about to
Well,
they're about to
quickly,
bury
your
me.
your dad had to be excited for this, right?
I think he was. Look, he acted like he was. He was as serious as he could get. You see here, if you're watching at home on your streaming from him, that he had a good haircut there, but he was still the silver bullet. You know what I mean? Kind of what I'm going with now with the beard. And so, but he was seasoned, and he could still wrestle a little bit, and he could do enough. Because he's smart and he knows we don't have to do anything. I'm an old man. Knock me down. And then everybody goes, hey, come on, dude. He's an old man. You know what I mean?
Right.
I loved it.
Here we go. From the Observer, by the way, we do have some language in this one, so go ahead and adjust for that. Here we go.
Yeah.
This is from the Observer. In one of the dumbest skits ever, they showed a brief clip of Bob Armstrong training B.G. James. They made it out like the babyface BG as a pussy in the sense of his role was the same as Jim Cornette's in the 1980s feud with Baby Doll. It was a comedy training segment where he was struggling to incline bench press and screaming in pain, and Bob was spotting him and got the weight off his chest, and it was like 25 pounds.
Hey, I don't know if those guys ever tried to incline, but like that's
25 is a lot. Especially since
it's
the
25
the
more
bar's
than
35.
none. Yeah, it's 25 more than nothing. I can tell you that much.
His dad trained him while he was a baby who puked, which, by the way, they showed. It's always boggled my mind when bookers try to portray baby faces as either dimwits or another P-bomb they dropped in the Observer, because people won't get behind either, and if they won't get behind you, why are you a baby face?
Yeah.
It's comedy, ha-ha, gaga, of course, but the overall point of what Meltzer says here, what do you say to that?
Well, I don't disagree with his point, but I think his point is not a blanket statement that covers every scenario inside professional wrestling or sports entertainment or any of the above. And so I would argue that this was a one-off, and they weren't running with me as a big baby face because I wasn't one. They weren't going to run with my dad as a. So what are you going to do with the novelty act? What's the build? We're going to get heat on my dad. We're going to get heat on me. We're going to no. So we go, hey, here's these guys, and we tried to entertain. Go entertain the entertaining route. And so if it didn't work and didn't entertain you, okay, I'll buy that. I see that. I understand that, but. Maybe if you're building a baby face and trying to establish a baby face and build this baby face as your guy, you wouldn't do that. And he's 100% right. But that's not what we were doing. You know what I mean? We were getting to a pay-per-view of a one-off that was third match on a TNA pay-per-view. You know what I mean? So we're not going to spend a lot of time in creative think on this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's let's have some fun. Let's bing, bang, boom. Let's get it over with, and we're done. And now what? You know what I mean? And so I don't know. I don't disagree with him. What he's saying is it cannot be a blanket statement and a blanket fact. That's just not. There's too many variables in what we do for that to remain a blanket fact.
Does that make it a waste of TV time?
I don't think so at all. I think what it does is it builds what build you can give the third match on your pay-per-view. You know what I mean? Like it's not the main event. Right. It's not the semi-main event. It ain't even the semi-main event. You know what I mean? Like it's the third card on your or second match on your card or whatever. It was lucky to get any time at all, and what it got was me and my dad making fools of ourselves and having a good time, and then Tom go, and I don't even remember if we won or lost. I don't even remember. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like who gives a crap? I got to stand out there with my father. This is for me personal. You know what I mean? Yeah. This is how I feel. I got to stand out there with my father and a color guard detail came with us with a Marine Corps color guard and the United States flag. And you know what I mean? Like it was a really symbolic, cool moment for me and my father, who were both Marines, to stand there in camouflage with the national anthem and the color guard detail with us. Like that was super cool for both of us. And so again, that was just if you didn't like the wrestling creative, sorry for me. And it wasn't even my idea, but I sure loved it and loved whoever's idea it was, because it gave me a special moment with my father that I can take to my grave. You know what I mean?
Later on in the show, Hernandez then pinned Kip James. Roxy Laveau threw powder in James's eyes. Then when Hernandez moved, Hernandez then got the pin after a clothesline. Woman hater Kip, and if he's a woman hater, why did he have a woman manager, says the Observer. Told Laveau she wears too much makeup, always screws up, dresses like Stevie Nicks in the 80s, and fired her. Dog, what'd you think of Roxy at this time? Was it time for her to move on from the gimmick?
Yeah. Well, look, if the gimmick's no longer there, then there's no longer her gimmick, period. And so if she wasn't going to continue on, I don't even know how much longer she worked for there, because I got fired so quickly after this. But like she was a really good person. She was a good worker too. She was really starting to find her own and stuff. So I latched onto her as quickly as possible, because I thought she's going to be something and somebody. I don't think she followed it. She chased the dream that much. Once she got out of that, she got into bodybuilding a little bit, and I haven't followed her lately, but I know for a while there she was looked like she was chiseled in stone. You know what I mean? And so I hope she's still doing well. Hadn't stayed in touch with her, probably should have, but yeah, I always loved her as a human and as a talent. But if VKM, the Voodoo Kin Mafia, is no longer around, then maybe Roxy Laveau doesn't make any sense either. You know.
Kip stands behind you as you and your dad cut a promo, and it's mostly you talking. And when it's over, he hugs both of you. Mm-hmm. You're building to a turn here. Were you excited to be the babyface in this scenario?
Well, I knew what was coming was about to hurt. You know what I mean? Okay. So it didn't matter at all if I was leaving the ring a heel or a babyface or neither. Because if I was leaving the ring conscious, it was going to be a bonus for me. So so those things go through your mind right before Billy's elbow does. And so that was where I was at that time. But yeah, look, I knew we were gonna have a little bit of a deal and be on TV, and a little something we could sink our teeth into, and I thought it was cool.
Well, at Against All Odds from Greenville, South Carolina, which, by the way, the last time your dad would appear on a wrestling pay-per-view with you.
Awesome.
Here we go. AJ Styles and Tomko beat BG James and Bob Armstrong in 7 minutes.
Were they the tag champs?
What's that?
Were they the tag champs?
Yes. I believe that's the briefcase, right?
I don't know. No, I had the briefcase was a shot at the tag titles.
Oh, yeah.
I thought. And they had the tag titles.
Mike today noted that Bob and BG both had their Marine Corps basic training nearby at Parris Island. Mm-hmm. And Bob going through it in 1957 and BG in 1987.
That's a very cool little fact. 30 years to the month. In August, 30 years to the month that we went. And when he went to see my graduation, he marched across the same parade deck that I marched across to graduate in, and my chapel where I went to church or Sunday school, whatever we did, whenever we could get out of the squad bay, we went to was his chow hall, the same exact building. So it was very cool for him to go, oh, this is where we had chow, and I was like, oh, well, this is where we do church, and this is the same building and everything. So it was very cool that we had that moment together, and then we have this moment together, 20 years later. So it was really cool.
And all the build-up of the match, they pushed that Bob was 67 years old. The Marine Corps color guard, like you said, came to the ring with him. Styles and Tomko argued before the match. Styles got on the mic to start the show, telling Tomko to come out, noting that he hadn't returned any of his phone calls for weeks and wanted to know where he stood, and yelled at him for siding with Christian. This was a bad match, but Styles was great in bumping for everyone. There was a mid-pump handle slam. Yep, we were kicking out of finishers all night here, says the Observer. They were being really careful with Bob, and that was a good thing on one hand, but didn't make...
That's almost a star is what you're saying.
If you remember anything about putting the match together... AJ had to be. He
was going to be great too. Like he was, they were all as concerned as I was. If it was in Marietta or something, you know what I mean? Like it might have been done better. But that's not where the pay-per-view was, and so that's where we did it.
You talked about how big of a moment the color guard was. Were you happy with how the match went?
Yeah, look, I don't really remember how the match went, to be quite honest with you, and whether it got a friggin' star. No, I think we do that a lot. You go like, because truth be told, on a pay-per-view, you're not going to have as many people as you are via television show, if you think about it. And so there's something to saving it for a larger audience. You know what I mean? And so it also makes it sound better.
It does.
like all those people are actually going to give a crap.
At Impact, AJ Styles and Tomko beat Kip James and Bob Armstrong. BG was on crutches. Bob to get pinned. They just had to beat up your dad, didn't they, dog?
Well, that Billy Gunn. That Billy Gunn. He's a son of a bee sting, I tell you what.
Kip has also attacked BG after the match, so we've got the Kip versus BG ask, and BG is tight with Jeff Jarrett, so there is loyalty there. WWE said they would possibly consider BG, but wanted nothing to do with Kip. There's a lot going on in TNA at the time, dog.
What?
And a lot of unhappy talent. Were you thinking about leaving?
And working for my friend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's known. You hear it and said you'd be stupid not to take it. You know what I mean? Like, go. But that's not what was going on. And so no, I wasn't thinking about going anywhere. I was a producer or working backstage in some form.
Do you remember anything about them not wanting anything to do with Kip? Or were you focused on everything else?
Yeah, I don't, because I think like we went back there and worked for
any kind of bad turn.
No.
Okay.
No, but again, I wasn't. You know what I mean? I was on bad terms myself.
Do you think the turn went well, and do you think it helped you and Kip?
No, I don't think it helped. I don't think it was like they did. You know what I mean? Billy went on and did some things and was with the beautiful people and did, you know what I mean? So they were going to utilize him on his own, because I think there's something there to promote. Get to that point, you gotta butt our heads together and see who comes out on top, and then
on Impact 3-6, they then did a BG minute or two. Kip said he was the workhorse of the team who had to go to the gym every day and stay in shape, but admitted his promos weren't the best, and that's where BG excelled. He said the two of them were both going nowhere and wanted to be put together, and it finally...
in my mind, it was Borash and Borash would, let's do this and let's shoot this. And I thought it was good too. I thought it was a great build to our story, because again, just like last time, this was not the main event of the show. This was not going to be, semi-main for a title. This is just a little interesting personal story that these two guys are fussing right now, and they're going to punch each other over it. And you're welcome to watch on the second match of the pay-per-view card. You know what I mean? And so it was, it just was what it was, and I forgot what we were talking about, but the match was going to be what it was going to be. We were talking about the build. The build was this like sit down, like interview, like I was on the pitcher's mound of my little high school, or my little Babe Ruth softball league, you know what I mean, with the J-Town water tower behind me, and you know what I mean. And I think we worked at Lockdown or something like that, Billy and I, and I'm not sure if I'm jumping ahead, but so I did some stuff in the dugout with the cage between us, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, there's a picture of it. So it was just very cool. We got to go, and I just was throwing ball with my kids, and it was just about, hey, I'm just a dude that's trying to do my best, and you're a prima donna that's mad about it. You know what I mean? Like it totally kind of played out that way too. So I don't know. I dug it. I thought it was cool.
You know what else you dig? I know this for a fact. You dig Blue Chew.
Oh man.
Huh?
I don't know. Did I cover my goats and all know
You did.
I don't know what that has to do. It might have been. I can't. They got into some of my stash. There were several of them that were just sleeping comfortably. There were several that were very hyperactive, and several that wouldn't get off the backs of the other one. So I don't know who got into what, but anyway, the Blue Chew commercial. Yes.
It's not. It's not made. It's not made for goats.
Oh, no. But,
It is made for us gentlemen goats.
ooh, and I'm the goat.
Yeah, look at you.
I'm not a kid.
Guess what Blue Chew does? Here's the main thing it does.
Oh.
It gives you confidence,
What
dog,
it does?
right? And you know, as a matter of fact, just with all your promos, confidence can take you far in life, and that's especially true in the bedroom, especially when it's time
Confidence.
to step up to the plate. You were talking about me in the dugout at the baseball field, but when it's time to step up to the plate, Blue Chew comes in perfectly. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable tablets and at a fraction of the cost.
Fraction of the cost.
You can take them anywhere, day or night. You can plan ahead, or you can be ready whenever
Plan
the
ahead, y'all.
opportunity arises.
Arises. Come on.
It's getting big, dog. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com. Consult one of their licensed medical providers. Once you're approved, you're going to receive your prescription within days. And the best part is, it's all done online. Yeah. No visits to the-
Discreet.
No visits to the doctor's office. No awkward conversations. And no waiting in line at the pharmacy. I mean, dog, everybody knows you in your hometown. You want me to
It
stand in line
is
at the pharmacy?
weird. Yes. When you go, hey, Mr. James. Never mind.
Yeah, your pills are ready. You don't want that. You can do
No,
it
I
all
don't.
online. And plus, look, you're a proud Marine. You love your country, dog.
Hoorah.
Blue Chews tablets are made right here in the
In
USA.
the USA. USA.
Then they're prepared and shipped direct to your door in a discreet
Package.
That's
But
the
let me tell you
last
something.
discreet
Your
package you'll
package
have
will
for a
be
while.
anything but discreet.
Anything but discreet. With Blue Chew, men everywhere
From the
excited
mountaintop.
to see that postman. Because when your package has arrived, dog,
You gonna have a postman.
your package has definitely arrived. I mean, some would say your package is bulging. You know what I mean?
Well, some would, and I wouldn't. Oh, your package.
If you want one of this, if you want Blue Chew in your life, you want this confidence, and you want to be a new person, if you can benefit from that extra confidence when it's time to perform, chew it and do it. Have better
Chew
sex.
it and
That's
do
the
it.
bottom line. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code
Free.
DOGG at checkout.
Free.
Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code DOGG to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the
Yes, we do.
podcast.
Thank Blue Mother Chew.
That was good
Man.
royalty-free porn music right there.
Yes, that is good. Hash crown.
Hash brown.
That's what I'm doing. That's
Crown
my
porn
new stick. Hash crown, whatever. Hash crowns are the little hash rounds from Burger King. They're called hash crowns.
Are they really?
Yeah. Come on, man.
Okay.
Hey, you can also get these at your local Target and affiliated
Look
stores.
at that thing.
It's myself.
Wait, is that really in stores now?
No.
Oh, that's old school.
Yeah, that's years of. I'm so old. I'm so old. I had action figures when they didn't bend and stuff. You know what I mean? They were just like a clump of hard clay. That
And you won't bend with Blue Chew.
oh, you won't go out on a bender. I can tell you that much.
All right, let's get back to some wrestling. Impact.
Why?
I don't know. We'll talk about being stiff all day long.
Okay,
Impact
Sheamus.
313.
Sheamus and Gunther.
We had week 2 of BG and Kip. BG admitted he was fired by WWE for drug problems, but he's clean now.
Yeah, I wasn't, but yes.
He said getting back with Kip was stressful because he was having fun with 3 Live Crew and didn't think they could match what they once did. Kip also noted he was fired and came here. Is there anything that makes a company look more minor league than their guys saying they're there because the other company fired them, basically admitting they had a big run years ago and couldn't match it? Why not just admit that you're washed up while you're at it? Because they all but said they were only there because the real company didn't want them anymore. Oh, dog, what do you think about this? Does this give the wrong perception of you two?
No. So were we washed up, fired from the other company? Is that all true? Yes. So why do you run from it? Okay. Why do you look people in the eye that know the truth and say otherwise? You know what I mean? Like, to me, you utilize that. This thing ain't going to be long, and we're going to dance off into the different hemispheres and see what happens in the future. You know what I mean? So it's, I thought the whole thing is, tell them like it is. We are two old has-beens that tried to do it again, and we couldn't. When we couldn't, you got pissed about it. You know what I mean? So now we're going to fight. And now, do you want to see us fight or not? And if you don't, I don't know what to tell you. If you do, watch it. I'm going to beat him, though, because I've never lost to him. Oh, I sit on a cake. Go ahead. Sorry, that was an inside joke. It wasn't even fair.
BG was telling the truth, but I'm not sure that it... Are you okay?
Yeah, I hit my knee really hard. It's usually, that's when Vince would usually laugh at you in the meeting. He hit his knee, guys. Did you see that? No.
BG was telling the truth, but I'm not sure that in a profession with a drug cloud around it that you put on television that a former WWE guy you have is only there because they fired him over drugs. Worse, in real life, those issues are also a significant part of Angle and Booker being there. I don't think when a fan is watching TNA, the message you want to send them is where the guys who can't keep straight in the other company come to, especially post-Benoit with all the wrestling drug talk in the news. Hopefully over the next few weeks, they build a stronger personal issue, because I like the idea of doing a real-life segment, but these were the wrong guys, and thus far they are honest, but talking about issues that don't make me care to see them wrestle. Dog, we never really discussed it here on the show, me or Katz, but what impact did the Benoit tragedy have on professional wrestling, and do you think it changed the mindset of a lot of guys?
I mean, I don't want to comment too much on this, but I don't think it changed. What did it have to do with wrestling?
Okay.
Like that honestly would be my question. And this was a totally, like, I mean, I guess if you're stretching, if you're connecting that to wrestling. If a plumber did that, would you connect it to plumbing? You know what I mean? I realize I'm being very cut and dry about this, but I think the gray area is where you get in trouble when you start talking about it. Like, why is that? He had a moment, where he lost sanity, and he did horrible acts of violence that are unspeakable and can't be imagined, can't be fathomed. But I knew him, you know what I mean? And I know this was something that snapped, and something wasn't right. And that could have happened to anybody. With all the mental health issues that are coming to fruition now, that are not to fruition, but coming into the foreground now, and all the things we're talking about, and people with concussion syndrome committing suicide, and all those things. I don't know. I mean, I guess if a football player did it, they would talk a lot about football, but it wouldn't be. It would only change to make football safer, and I think wrestling's done that as well. And so that's my. I guess I wasn't too short-winded on it, but that's my take on that.
Yeah, I think some people do the link. Again, there's a lot of gray area there, and I don't know any of the. You know more than me, and like you said, there was a moment nobody was there before, but I think some people link it because a lot of wrestlers, including Benoit, have been linked to steroids, and they say there may be a link there.
Yeah.
But I think it goes back to what you said. Hopefully, you would think that the business has gotten better because of that.
Safer, 100%. 100%. With head injuries, with concussion protocol, with drug testing, with it made it made the culture or the environment safer for the so I'm not saying that this horrible incident had to happen so that this could be bad, but something positive did come out of it, and I'm so sorry to everybody involved, and can't even fathom the feelings of the the family members, but I don't know how much you tie it to wrestling and how much it's just a lot of people, a lot of athletes took performance enhancing drugs and it got cracked down on because of some of these things. And so, yeah, it's a horrible thing to talk about. And sometimes I just think it's or to think about, excuse me, and talk about, but I don't know, man. It's just weird sometimes when we just say, oh, well, it's wrestling and Benoit and it's like, okay, you're right. He was a wrestler. But he was a human being and a husband and a father, and something happened, and he lost his way, and they lost their lives, and he did too. And it's, man, I'm sorry this took a turn. I apologize, but it's horrifying.
I brought it up. That's what we want to talk about. It's all look. Yeah. Anytime you mention his name, it's uncomfortable to talk about.
It really is,
because it's a tragedy.
And so that's I understand it being brought up. I guess I just didn't want to talk about it, so I kicked against the pricks.
Let's keep going. Impact on 320 next was more with BG and Kip. That was much better than week 1, but almost anything would have been, says the Observer. BG basically said that the wrestlers like AJ Styles had gotten better, and really all there were was 2 guys saying suck it. He said he was no longer the road dog, and that he didn't have time for the gym because he had to take his 3 kids to their sporting events and spend time with his wife. He said he thought he and Kip were closer and that both of them had grown up and become adults. Kip said he didn't want to say he was carrying the team, but he was doing 60% of the work.
Oh.
They basically acknowledged the team never worked in TNA. I mean, Billy's claiming he did 60% of the work.
The picture, well, I mean, look, I was going to say 75, but look at Billy's face here in this picture. If you're watching by way of streaming, like he's upset about something.
He's pouting.
He is pouting, and he's got a great pout, So I don't know what we just threw that picture up there of us for, but it was Billy's pouting probably, in promotion of the pouting and the scissor thing.
It's never a shocker. It shouldn't be when somebody's son looks like their dad. But
yeah.
When you threw that pouting picture up, man, he looks just like his 2 boys there.
Yes, I mean, they are spitting images of him, man.
And by the way, Billy did 60, you say 75% percent of the work on a team that never worked in TNA. So there you go.
Yeah.
Thanks, Billy.
I think
it would have got over.
I think what they meant was we were never successful. We wrestled every now and then. We just weren't any good. That's what the Observer is stating. Like, look, they weren't fans of mine, and I'm okay with that.
You guys are live on Impact 327. BG and Kip James did their segment. This was good. I still don't want to see them fight, but they each made their case about how the briefcase match is what did end the team. Kip noted that BG was eliminated, and he was the one who got the briefcase and threw it to BG. BG then had it, but picked his father to be his partner. Kip said he understood his father was his hero, but he's the one who won the briefcase, and they'd been working for a tag title shot since they got back together. Kip is the heel, but at least he had logical motivation. It does seem odd that Kip is the heel in this scenario when he puts it like that, right?
When he does, I guess you kind of understand both sides. But isn't that the way it is in a lot of disagreements?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I picked my father. I'm sorry. I didn't pick you because you suck. Sanjay Dutt beat you. Okay? Why would I pick you? You're horrible at this.
You did
75% of the work, and we didn't work.
At the Go Home Impact, Kip would talk about how it was time to move on, beating you and going for his dream of winning a world title. Are you surprised Kip never got a world title run in any company?
You know what? I am. I thought he was pretty good. And look, I've always loved Billy to death and always will and think the world of him. And so I thought the world of him when he was the one Billy Gunn and kind of doing the thing had a run with The Rock for like the Intercontinental title or something. And like, I don't know. I thought he was really good and really going places, and then he didn't. So I don't know what happened there. maybe it was because he didn't have me by his side.
There we go.
What?
Finally, at lockdown in
I'm just
2000.
kidding, Billy. I love you.
No, we'll edit that out. He's not kidding.
Both things can be true.
Finally, at lockdown in 2008, Lowell, Mass. I gotta ask, what do you think of a show that has all cage matches, dog?
Ooh, I think it's not good. Yeah, it's not. And it's, you know,
Does it go
it's
against
just,
everything you were taught in wrestling?
well, it just makes the cage not special at all.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I know it was at a young time in the biz and a young time in the UFC game, and you know what I mean? Like, it was just that was all the rave, and so they tried it out, and they tried it out for a couple of years, from what I remember. But yeah, I just think it's like having every match a Hell in the Cell match. You know what I mean? It just makes the cell less and less important. And really, when a cage match, if you don't do one for a long time, you can really work a cage match and really put some time in and tell a good story with a cage match, you know?
You know, and also with a lot of these things, and we talk about it often, things that didn't work, you don't know if they don't work till you try them. And
that's why I take
if you had
Blue
all
Chew.
Cages and it might have hit, you don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, you think, like you said, hey, it's not making it special anymore, but
Yeah.
hell,
It
if we
was
would've bought into
it was called Lockdown. It was a
Yeah.
different time. They were trying different things. Like, I salute the effort. But I don't think it was what they wanted it to be. You know what I mean?
Let's get to the match. BG James pinned Kip James in 6:45. We knew that because you're undefeated, baby, against Kip.
Well, and then another thing is, and this is just a fact, I'm better than him. Like, I'm a better, I don't want to say athlete, because I think that's the verbiage is what mix people up. You know what I mean? Like, you can't look at me and then look at him and go, he's a better athlete. Like, that's not going to happen. You're going to look at me and then look at him and go, would you please help your friend? Bless his heart, he looks like a snake that ate a goat, and he's laid up across the road with just a big lump in his belly. And so that's what you think when you see a picture of us. But
Well, let's just
even if
put
you
it out there.
don't, you do now.
What a long way to say you're a better sports entertainer than Bret Hart and
Bret
Kip
Hart
James.
and Billy Gunn put
that's-
together.
Put together.
Hey, that would be a hell of an athlete, wouldn't it?
Well, here's the point. BG James, you
Brilly Gart. If you say Brilly Gart, hashtag Brilly Gart, #crown Billy Gart.
Crowned Billy Gart.
Holy mackerel, what a supreme being in the wrestling world. That would be awesome.
You would be. It's like a transformer. You came together and just ruled.
And
BG
just beat
James,
everybody.
you pinned him in 6:45. Kip did an RKO out of nowhere.
What?
That was funny, says the Observer. He also did a famouser for a near fall. Kip missed a charge into the corner, and BG schoolboyed him. Just favorite
Skiz
move.
biz.
After the match, BG offered Kip his hand, and Kip shook it. Then they raised each other's arms until Kip clotheslined BG
Son
and
of a
beat
bee
on
sting.
him.
Son
Mike
of a bee
Tenay
sting.
and Don West were so overplaying it. There's a problem when every fan in the building knows Kip is turning on BG. Then he does, and the announcers are screaming at you like it's the most heinous angle you've ever seen. Sometimes you just have to low-key an angle and joke about it rather than waste good outrage on an angle that's worthless with guys nobody cares about, and save it for an angle that has a prayer of meaning something. Hey, 1 star.
Hey,
It was
we're
3/4
moving on
stars last
up.
time.
We're moving on up in the world. 1 star. I had 3/4 with my father. I knew my dad would bring me down. He was 67, Observer. Suck it.
While we're here, dog, this is our
Yeah.
first chance to discuss this. But what did you think of the incredible Don West, who's recently passed away?
Man, yeah, I'm
rest
glad you
in
put
peace,
that up
but
there.
just an absolute one-of-a-kind legend.
What a legend and what a salesman.
Oh.
Like, he's literally the guy that could sell, white gloves to a woman eating a ketchup popsicle. So that's just the truth of the matter, man. I spent a lot of time with Don in TNA, and he actually rode around with us a lot when we made the live event towns and stuff. He was just such a salesperson all the time, but he was also such a really good human being. So great loss to his family and to his friends, but also a loss to the wrestling industry, where I feel like there was so much more he could have done. You know what I mean? And on such a bigger platform too. But what all that he did was so cool, and it was just so. I'm just honored and glad that I got to spend some time with him while he was alive. You know what I mean? And that's all I can say is thank you, God, that I got to know him before he passed.
Getting a brief chance to spend with him at multiple StarCast events, conventions, and just seeing him up close and personal, like you said, he'll say something you didn't even know you were coming over there for. Hey, I'd like a Bret Hart t-shirt, and you walk away with a Jeff Jarrett guitar, and you're like, what just happened?
And I have the Bret Hart t-shirt on. He's like a magician.
Just a great guy. We send we mean it. We send our thoughts and prayers to his family. Just a absolute legend. Rest in peace, Don West. Let's get back to wrestling. You get the win, dog.
Yeah, it takes a good man.
Are you ready for the big main event push, baby?
Yeah, apparently not. The Observer said 1 star, and that's short for starfish because it sucks, bro. Yeah, I don't know. Ask the Observer.
Look
Ask the Observer. Look, man. I was happy that the match was over because I was blown up. So I didn't really care one way or the other what the Observer was thinking at this time. I thought, oh my God, the match is over. I got pills in my wallet. I got. How am I going to get back to the hotel? You know what I mean? I can't drive. There's things going through my mind there that weren't. I wonder what Dave Meltzer's going to think.
You didn't wonder how many stars you just got?
I wonder what Uncle Dave's going to say. I did not think one moment about it. And the only reason I'm thinking about it now is because we keep reading what he thinks about it to me.
Was there a bigger story to come from this? It's very odd to say that at least the TNA was always so heel win heavy that you got the win in this match.
Yeah. Look, that's probably politics. You know what I mean? Like, okay. And I don't know the answer to that. I don't know. But I knew if they're splitting me up and making me a babyface, if I have any chance at all of doing anything, I had to win that match. You know what I mean? And so it wasn't a thing of me going as a heel. He can say, you cheated. I was slipped. You know what I mean? The water wasn't boiling. Whatever, you know. And so as a babyface, I feel like splitting up and going your separate ways, I kind of had to win that match. But again, that's just me. I could, if they were going to go somewhere bigger with Billy, I could totally see me losing it. You know what I mean? But it was kind of like, we don't know where we're going. We're just splitting you guys up. We'll land where we land. But for now, how do we do this as painlessly as possible? And that was the way I feel like.
This would be the last time you won a singles match in TNA on TV.
It might have been the first time I ever won a singles match as well.
Were you soon to be transitioning to a backstage role in TNA?
Yeah, I was. And look, it was no secret. Like, I wasn't in great shape. I wasn't in great headspace. You know what I mean? And so it was, yeah, I'm going to move into a creative role. And then I really exposed myself for the idiot that I am. And, and I got fired from there too. So thanks for bringing all this up. Great.
Well, there it is. We're going to get to some fan questions. We got plenty of those. Everybody's got questions about the end of the Voodoo Ken Mafia.
The end of the VKM. Did I tell you that how we came up with that name? And this is a weird story.
Let's
but
go.
Like literally, my son was there. My son was probably 16, or I don't even know how old he was, and I'm too stupid to do the math. But he was young, and I said, okay, we need words to rhyme with or to start with V. Let's think of words that start with V. And so we were going down the list, and the voodoo was one. And I thought, oh, well, that's interesting. Anyway, like it's voodoo is cool. It's it gets your attention, whatever. And so we literally went down and read sat there for hours with my son on his little tablet or whatever he was on, just looking at named words that start with these letters. And so that's where we got the Voodoo Ken Mafia. And because it's Voodoo Ken, because we were the James boys, we weren't really Ken, so it was Voodoo Ken. And anyway, Mafia we just had some fun with that. And Mafia works anywhere, right? And the
old was he?
T-shirt,
How
the
old was your
T-shirt
son?
was the Voodoo Ken,
The Godfather
you know,
look?
the Godfather, but with a voodoo doll hanging on it. You know what I
Leopard
mean?
shirt,
And
so good. So
yeah,
good.
so it was kind of cool and wrote itself, and then of course Roxy Laveau made sense because of the voodoo, and so I don't know. I kind of dug it all. It's all very New Orleans, but I don't know. I kind of thought it was cool. The whole world didn't, so it was just me. I don't care. I don't care because that's when I got to start my garage band, Road Dog and the Chocolate Starfishes. And when we perform, I mean, we really get outside of ourselves. You know what I mean?
What was y'all's first hit?
You don't remember?
I
Gaggle of
remember-
Fernums?
Oh, Gaggle of Fernum. Yeah,
Yeah,
I knew.
yeah,
I forgot
GOF.
which one it was.
Yeah, GOF. Oh, Gaggle of Fernum. Oh,
How many
that
is
was
a
a good
gag? How many Fernums you got to have for it to be a gaggle?
13. 13 is official. Yeah,
I knew it was.
Baker's
I knew it was
dozen.
in the teens. I couldn't
Baker's
remember.
dozen.
Yeah, I couldn't remember where it started. Before we get to the fan questions, let's tell everybody about our friends, Road Dog. And we look.
Which
They can
friends
look
are you
at
going
me.
to talk about?
I look like an emoji. I'm so round, which you know. I love food. And I
Wait,
don't
let's
get fat
back
by
up.
accident.
I didn't
Yeah,
mean it like that.
you did. You
I
said I
did?
look like a round emoji face.
I didn't say round. I said when you put those. All right, who are we talking about? Jimmy Seafood?
Yeah, we're going to talk about
Look
Jimmy
at him.
Seafood.
Cool as Christmas.
Yeah, because I love Jimmy Seafood.
Look at Road Dog. Just saying, look at the seafood. Hey, over here.
Look at you. You're like, what else you want? Look at those crab cakes. What else
Look
do
at those
you want?
crab cakes.
Oh, Jimmy'sFamousSeafood.com. Ship food nationwide. We've talked about it many times, dog.
Many times.
When you go to Baltimore, and if you're in anything in the wrestling business, you're going to eat a meal at Jimmy's Famous Seafood. But now you can get that shipped right to your front door.
I get that shipped sent everywhere.
Oh, shipped everywhere, man.
That's what I meant to
Shipped
say.
everywhere. Shipped all over the place. Free 2-day nationwide shipping on orders of over $125, excluding
Yeah.
the steamed crabs and the fresh items. All you got to do is use that promo code DOGG. Guess what you're going to get, dog? How
Crab
big are them
cakes.
Maryland crab cakes, buddy?
Hey, big as a polar bear's hand.
Oh my gosh. Soups,
I don't know.
chowders, oysters, signature steaks.
Oh, yeah.
Plus their incredible desserts and gluten-free items. They're ready for you and your
Gluten-free.
dietary needs. Several packages that make great gifts. You can get the famous gift box, which includes 4 of the world's
Seafood.
best colossal Maryland crab cakes, 2 different crab
Jimmy's
soups.
Famous Seafood.
How about that crab dip, dog? Oh,
Crab dip.
seafood seasoning. You can put that on
Dip your
anything.
ship in it.
And their signature bay sauce.
Miss.
Everyone knows Road Dog likes to dip his crab cakes in some
I
kind of
love
sauce.
to dip my trap can sauce.
How about this? Football playoffs, NFL playoffs around the corner. You got the big end of the year championship. I don't know if we're allowed to say the actual name of the game, but the tailgate bundle is available.
Whoa.
2 pounds
That's
of
what we're
wings,
talking about.
a full rack of barbecue ribs, a pint of crab dip,
Tailgate
and
bundle.
that crab cake mix. Or you can create your own package. Over 40 years in the
Create your own
business.
package.
It has been featured on Diners, Dine-Ins, and Drives, Beat Bobby Flay, and more. And like we said,
And he beat Bobby Flay, too.
oh,
beat him like a dog,
if you
Bobby
by the
Flay.
way, he'll beat anybody.
I'll
Jimmy will
beat you,
beat
Bobby
anybody.
Flay. Sorry. I just love Jimmy so much.
Dog,
Bobby Flay.
serious. Talk about Jimmy's Famous Seafood, and it's
Oh,
the
my
first
word.
stop for the boys in Baltimore.
Hey, always the first stop. I went there not long ago with Billy Gunn, Billy Gunn, and Rakishi. And another
y'all put
friend
a
of
hurt.
ours, Brandon Scott, joined us too with some friends. So we showed up and we ate all we could eat, and man, it's always so good, always delicious. And I've never seen anybody eat as much as Billy Gunn did that day. But Rakishi might have been a close second because they ate a lot of Jimmy's seafood. It could not have been cheap. Thank you, Jimmy. So yeah, it was a very cool experience. And when the wrestlers go there, to Baltimore, they go to Jimmy's Seafood. I ordered this seafood. I had seafood delivered to my house, and this was years ago, actually. I don't even know if they were doing it nationwide then, but he shipped it to my house, and oh my word, the crab cakes, best crab cakes I've ever eaten in my life, and I would be willing to bet you'll say the same after you eat them. And free shipping after $125.
Yeah.
$125 is what you're going to pay to go out and eat dinner with your wife or somewhere nice. You know what I mean?
Correct.
If you go somewhere nice, I'm giving you that. But it's shipped free then to your house, and that's going to give you about 6 meals probably. You know what I mean? With what you get for $125. And so, yeah, I just think it's an awesome deal, and I think their food is second to none. If you don't get it, I don't want you to call yourself a true seafood lover, because I will come to your house and smack you in the ear like John Stossel. I won't.
Promo
really.
code DOGG. That'll keep you from getting slapped like John Stossel. Go to Jimmy'sFamousSeafood.com. Look, you can't get to Baltimore. Get Baltimore to your front
Get
door,
it to you,
son.
Jack.
Jimmy's
And they
Famous
send them in those
Seafood.
ice little boxes. They're really cool too. You might just
on.
want to keep the box after you eat the seafood.
Come on with it.
Cattle
You-
play in there.
I'm telling you this, you'll eat so much you'll look like Steven Seagal afterwards. All right. Just fat as mud.
Like hey,
as dogs
like the cool emoji, but just jet black greasy hair.
Fat as mud.
Fat as mud.
Doug puts it.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to some fan questions, Mr. Dog.
All right, let's do it.
Michael Double M says,
Mm-hmm.
were there other names pitched other than Voodoo Ken Mafia, or was the plan always to go with that name along with the VKM initials? You kind of hinted on it.
Yeah,
You
it was.
went
Well,
through a
look, that
few.
was.
Was there anything close, or was it always Voodoo?
No, it kind of that was when
just
when we
built to that.
when I found that, I just felt like that was it, and I sold it to them that way. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I think it works. I think it's faux DX. It's all this stuff. So I don't know. I just thought it worked. Again, I could have been wrong, and apparently I was.
Austin Williams
But-
wants to know.
Hey, but let's talk for a second about those shirts that we have on
You talking about the Voodoo Ken Mafia shirt?
bagofjohnsons.com. Yeah, we have what do we have on boxergimmicks.com? Sorry, I messed up the word. Yeah, we have the Voodoo Ken Mafia shirts on there.
I'm going to see if bagofjohnsons.com is available. If not, if it is, we're buying it. And
I'm buying it today.
yeah, no, we're gonna get it before this is done. But yes, go
All
to
right.
boxofgimmicks.com. You got all
Yeah.
the shirts. You got the Dapper Dog shirt there.
Oh yeah, hey,
You got
put
the
that. You
Voodoo-
got a picture of that Dapper Dog shirt?
You got the Voodoo Ken Mafia shirt. You got
Yeah.
the I'm a Fergal McDivitt guy.
Oh,
shirt.
see, I need all of that. I could be wearing these, y'all. I'll be
And-
wearing these.
That's what we need you. We need
Yeah.
you wearing these out.
I know. Like to
Everybody can
look at
see
that
'em.
Dapper Dog right there for a shoot. I'd wear that.
By the way,
I have a sports coat. That'd look good with a blue sports coat. That blue and that.
gosh, it looked good.
Yeah,
Look at that.
I'm
Look at
ready.
you.
That's a good looking shirt.
Well, apparently you've already got it. Look at you wearing it.
I've got it on there.
For the sophisticated.
I shouldn't have
outlaw.
cut. It's for the sophisticated outlaw. I'm a Dapper Dan man.
By the way, bagofjohnsons.com is available and it's now ours, dog.
Well, that happened quickly. That escalated quickly. It was just a slip of the tongue.
Do you
Just-
think Johnson's, make sure I'm spelling it right, JOHNSONS, Bag of Johnson's?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll go-
I
that'll
was
go
talking
straight
about, well, Howard Johnson's right about what Jim Johnson said.
Johnson's. Didn't think I'd be buying that today, but here we
Hey,
are.
here we are. And stupider purchases have been made. I can assure you of that.
This week. Yeah. Go get your boxofgimmicks.com and go straight there. I might link bagofjohnsons.com straight to our store. That might be our thing.
Yeah. And we
We'll
need to
figure it
come
out.
up with a bag of
Johnson's.
something that we're going to call Johnson's.
What if we made a fanny pack and it said Bag of Johnsons?
Well, we could sell a fanny pack with a can of Oscar Mayer, like Vienna sausages in it.
There you
And
go,
just
Bag
say-
of Johnsons.
Bag of Johnson's.
Let's get back to the questions. Austin Williams, you kind of touched on it, but just to sum it up, dog, what was it like being in the Feast or Fired match?
Yeah, I didn't want to be in that match, but I didn't. No, I thought it was cool. I did. I thought it was a cool concept. I still think it's cool. I think you could do it again. I think it's. And I don't remember, and maybe you guys don't either, but did somebody get fired out of that? Was somebody's deal up and was it me and I didn't know about it? Was it, like what happened there? You know what I mean? Did somebody actually get fired? Because I do
get a
think,
feast out of it?
I don't remember feasting at all. And I feast frequently. So maybe that's why I don't remember it, because I was busy eating a cake and sitting on the Cake Sitters. The Cake Sitters. That's the show I was talking about earlier when we were
Does
talking.
Cake Sitters come on right after Skinwalker Ranch?
Right after Skinwalker.
Yeah,
what about Corey saying that the other night? Corey said something about Skinwalker's Ranch.
He got all up in his ear because I immediately popped. I said, Road Dogg got that.
Yeah, he must. I don't know how he heard that. If he came up with it independently, I'm really freaked out. You know what I mean?
Well, look, he's like everybody else. Nobody will admit that they listen to this chaos of a show. Even though they do, we've seen numbers, people listen, nobody admits to it.
Okay, good. Don't admit it.
I think we're a guilty pleasure. I think that's what we are.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I am too.
Because if I'm your regular pleasure, man, you got real problems. You need to check yourself, dog. Because ain't enough Blue Chew in the world, you know.
How great is this name? The Midnight Wolfman.
Oh, yes.
JP Parasite. What a long name there. He says,
yeah.
My question, I've always read that Billy Gunn was unhappy in TNA since his debut. Is that true or false?
So I don't think it was true. Look, I think Billy Gunn was unhappy in TNA because he was also on drugs, and so I don't think you mind me sharing that he's been clean for 12 years as well, and so he's doing great when it comes to that. But look, I think we were unhappy because we were guys that we got spoiled, man, and that's just the truth of it. I mean, you can be a grown man and still get spoiled, and we did. The spots we had, the jobs we had, and where we were on the card spoiled us. And so when you get to a place that's not paying you as well and it's not producing as well as the other place did, like it's, you know, you think you've taken steps backwards, and then add on top of that drug addiction, and you're not, you know, is not conducive to make you a happy camper. So I don't think it was about his gimmick or his, I think it was just where we were in life, man. We had taken a step backwards in our professional life, and that's just a fact. And so if you're happy with that, I don't know, but you can make the best of it. Taking drugs is not the way to do that.
I am the Bosch Man. Tweets us at You Didn't Know Pod, at Brian R.D. James, at the Casio Kid. He says, I know the purpose of the name was to have the initials VKM, but you told us the thought process.
Yeah.
And he thought there should be a vacuum kettle memorandum. He selected 3 random words from the dictionary, which is funny because you kind of said that's how your son came up with it.
Yeah, it's exactly how we came up with it. And we literally read words like that and into the V for an hour. Let's just read words that start with a V. You know what I mean? The vermin, the vermilion, and so we did the same thing. Like, look, to be quite honest, what was his name?
Boschman.
Boschman Johnson. Big Bosch. Big Boschman. Yeah, your name you came up with sucked. So I
vacuum kettle memorandum. You don't like that one?
I don't like that one. I think it sucks. But it did start with vacuum. So
he did get the VKM.
It didn't suck. It was good. It was probably what me and my son came up with first.
Mark Cavalera says, I understood the segments and got a kick out of them. What I didn't understand was what was the point of Christy Hemme coming out for the last segment at Final Resolution. I still wonder about that. Don't get me wrong, I liked it too because she cut one hell of a good promo.
So I have no idea what you're talking about, sir. Don't ever remember as long as I've been alive doing the television segment with Christy Hemme. But having heard that,
Yeah.
I do not believe you are fibbing. I believe was out to lunch that day.
Could have been a fun night.
It was one of those benders we spoke of. It was for a year I was on it.
James Grunberg says,
Oh, the Grunberg.
as you look back on this angle and everyone grew up, do you think of yourself, this was a dumb idea? I was just mad, but now I'm in a better place. I don't think it was a dumb idea. No.
No, look, because it wasn't successful. Like, I don't know. I don't know if that makes it a dumb idea. You know what I mean? Like, it's maybe we could have done something different to make it work. Like, we were losing from the inception because
Right.
what were they gonna acknowledge us and then fight us at the Alamo? You know what I mean? Like, what were we were setting ourselves up for failure,
Right.
to be perfectly honest with you. And I think we were okay with that. I think the powers that be we were just going, hey, look at us. Look over here. Look at us. And that was, then when they looked, we had nothing else for them. You know what I mean? But I think it was us trying to, just trying to work. And it's, you know what I mean? It's kind of everyday life. It's just on television.
Johnny K999 says, Did or do you feel like winning the tag belts would have helped legitimize the group even more? Also, did Billy ever show interest in wanting the NWA TNA World Belt? Hashtag scissor me, doggy.
Well, I'll be darned. Hash Crown Johnson. So Hash Crown Johnson. I don't know if he ever wanted to be. Look, I think he probably wanted to be the world champion. And I think he probably could have been the world champion. But if you had Billy now, where his head's at now, where my head's at now, if you had us back then, you know what I mean, where our bodies were then, but our heads are now, he could have been, he could have been the WWE champion. You know what I mean? Like, there was no holding him back. And I would have never been champion. You know what I mean? Like, that's just not what I was cut out to be. But I don't think it would have. I think it would have just elongated or put off. I don't. I really don't. And I'm sure we did, but I also didn't. For me to do, and I'll do that too. You know what I mean?
Before we go any further,
NMLS number 65084, equal housing lender. Woo!
The 5-star reviews are in and it's confirmed SaveWithConrad.com can save you thousands. Jimmy E writes that we saved his family more than $1,000 a month. James S says we saved his family more than $1,200 a month. But how much can you save? It's free to find out right now at SaveWithConrad.com. But if you've got a second mortgage, if you've got credit card debt, or even worse, if you're in a 30-year loan, it's not a matter of if we can save you money, but a matter of how much at SaveWithConrad.com.
all right, dog, just a couple more questions from our friends over at Ad Free Shows, our top guys, top gals over there. Brad Stanton said, dog, were you relieved when VKM ended?
Yeah, I was. I mean, and that kind of relieved that you asked me that question too, because it was a moment in time where it was like we tried it, and in my mind I knew it wasn't gonna. So, you know, you start thinking about the language you use and the words you use. To say it wasn't going to work, is so, you could really work with that, because it wasn't as good as the first thing. It was still okay. We still went out there and had okay matches, and we were still the guys that you remember from the other show. But that was where the problem lied. You know what I mean? We were the guys that used to be cool and famous, and now we're the washed up guys, and the Observer gets hot when we tell them that, but that's what we were. So we told them that. I don't think the titles would have meant anything for us to have them. Like, it would have brought truthfully, because the people didn't care about us then. It wasn't our time. We were doing this personal stuff, and as you heard, that they still didn't care. So it was what it was, you know. And yes, I was glad when it came to an end, because I felt like we were swimming upstream from the moment it started.
And last but not least, on the fan questions, Bobby KF5GTX says,
Good Lord.
dog, what was your initial reaction when you were told you'd be working with Kip James in a cage match. What did the process look like for talking through that match?
Well, it was basically him saying, look, I'm going to beat the crap out of you for about 6 minutes and 30 seconds, and then you just roll me up. And so I said, okay, cool.
Schoolboy and gold, baby.
And then it was survival of the fittest. It was like wrestling a grizzly bear who had been declawed. But he just had his way with me. Did you see the movie The Revenants? You know what I mean? It was just I'm just DiCaprio. I'm just DiCaprio just getting smashed. Oh God.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
And yeah, so it was. Look, I knew Billy's he's a snug dude. You get in there and you work with him, and he touches you. You know what I mean? You know you've been in there with him. Same with Sheamus, same with Gunther, same with some guys. You know, there's guys that way, Bradshaw, that when you get in there and work with them, you know you've been in there with them. And Billy was that way, and so I enjoyed that. I really do too, but especially. Not so much at this point in my career when we're older and in a cage, but when we first started, we were the New Age Outlaws. We brought it, man. And you go back and watch, and we fought with people, and we got beat up, and we beat up, and it was like so. So I knew that was going to come out again. I just wasn't so full of zeal to do it. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like, yeah, let's get in there and do it. It was like, oh God, this is going to hurt. You know. Question from Dave Meltzer. Were you surprised that the front row didn't pass out from the lack of oxygen after the finish? Actually, sad thing is there was a couple of members of the audience that did lose consciousness
Really?
due to the lack of oxygen.
We don't like to talk about that.
Yeah, no. We don't talk about that, or we don't dress up as the cool emoji. But this is his cake sitter outfit. This is what we do.
Cake sitting outfit. Well, I thought this was a cool episode. I had fun,
loved it.
dog.
I did too. It was lighthearted, and I feel like that's what we all need right now.
Yeah, we do.
Is and some tenderness.
And-
Together, you can't afraid to fight here. I'm gonna for you. Miami Dolphins suck. I'm gonna for you. Tua still has a concussion. Hold my hand. Oh, couldn't hit that. I couldn't hit that high one, and I apologize for trying to you guys.
BagofJohnson.com.
Oh, Lord.
Next week, I'm going to hold your hand through an entire episode, dog, of Raw 25, son. The 25 years of Raw. A hot topic of controversy.
Let me ask you, do we have to talk about Dax?
Well,
Is that what we're going to talk about?
In Ring with the Revival, the NWO, the Bullet Club, how it felt to be at the Manhattan Center, your role that day,
Wow.
and more. So that's going to be a fun one. Next week, go ahead and like, subscribe before you get out of here so you can know exactly when that drops. And, by the way, if you want any of our episodes early and ad-free, go to adfreeshows.com and sign up there, and you can get that episode as soon as it's ready with no ads, even though I think we do a hell of a job doing ads.
We do ads really well. I don't know if anybody buys any of the products because of our ads, but I feel on a personal level, you and I perform well.
I hope our love comes across for our advertisers. But
it does. It does.
Yeah. If you want it early and ad-free, go to adfreeshows.com. Also, while we're here, give a shout-out to our buddy Eric Bischoff, who's got his new book out, Grateful, by him and Guy Evans.
Amen.
It's on Amazon or bischoffbook.com. Like I said, subscribe.
Grateful. Before you say like and subscribe,
Yeah.
let's think about grateful for a moment.
The word grateful.
The word grateful, but more importantly, the act of being grateful, the act of having gratitude. Like if they say in recovery, a grateful addict won't use, a grateful alcoholic won't pick up a drink. Wow. And that's a frame of mind. Think about an attitude of gratitude. That's a frame of mind. And you can make a list of things you're grateful for every day. We talk about it on here every now and then, but attitude of gratitude. Think about that. When you're positive and your head is in the right place, man, nothing can bring you down and nothing can slow you down. So if you didn't know, you ought to call somebody.
There you
Now,
go.
now, if you would tag and refund and
Like,
hash
subscribe,
crown.
5-star rating on all the platforms, Twitter handles. He's at Brian R.D. James. I'm at the Casio Kid. You know the show handle. At You Didn't Know Pod. At You Didn't Know Pod. YouTube, of course, is youtube.com/DOGG. We appreciate you watching it if you are on our YouTube. Go to boxofgimmicks.com, possibly bagofjohnsons.com for all your You Didn't Know t-shirts. That Dapper Dog shirt, the I'm a Fergal McDivitt guy.
Hey, I'm a 3XL, by the way.
Okay.
If you want to see me at live WWE live events with these Dapper Dog shirts, I don't know if I can wear them, though. I might have to wear a shirt. I'll have to wear
Better to ask forgiveness
a
than
Bloodline shirt over it when I show up.
That's not very oozy of you.
I'm not very oozy. I'm
check-
more juicy.
I'm more juicy than
Yeah.
oozy. Yeah, that should be a new shirt.
That's a
as
good
well.
one, too.
My man, thank you, dog. It's been a
Thank
fun
you.
one. Look forward to talking about Raw 25 with you next week. And like Dog
do
said, we are grateful that you checked this episode out. We're grateful to our advertisers.
Amen.
We appreciate you checking us out. And if you didn't like this episode, we got 2 words for you.
Suck it.